Hello from the Hydro in Glasgow, where we're going to have a walk along the River Clyde. We also have Armadillo, which is based on the Sydney Opera House. We've got some good buildings along here to have a look at. So we'll have a walk along the Clyde and look at what we can see of the various museums and wildlife. We start off here at the old Finnieston crane, a preserved crane from when the Clyde was a dockyard. It's no longer in use, but they've kept it preserved. Now there's some information about the old crane over here, so we'll go and have a look at what it says. In relation to the Hydro, a spaceship has landed in Glasgow. So it's just across from the Hydro if you're ever wanting to come and see it. Let's go and have a closer look. Now, a bit of a closer look at some information about the crane. Clyde Navigation Trustees, crane number 7. Maximum load 175 tonnes. That's about how much I weigh after I've had something to eat. Cowans, Sheldon and Company, Carlisle, 1931. So it must have been built in 1931. I would have thought it'd be built earlier than that, but that's what it says. Daniel Fife, technical engineer to the trustees. So a bit of information about it there. I'm standing right beside it. You can see how high it was, loading things onto ships. And right here you can see the old railway line that used to come this way to bring goods, and the crane would take it off the train onto the boat, and then who knows where it went after that. The Clyde goes right out to the west coast of Scotland, out past Campbelltown, and anywhere in the world, I suppose. There we go. So let's have a look along the Clyde a bit more. An interesting building over here is this funny looking thing. Looks like a staircase, and then you're passing on the M8. You can see across this way to the Hydro, which is there, along with the Armadillo, based on the Sydney Opera House. Here we are by the banks of the Clyde. There's the crane sticking up above the trees, the STV studios and the BBC studio. Now, something interesting to note is just make out the camera on the corner there. That's what you see behind the news reporter when he's sitting at the desk. This little pigeon is having a sit down. Will I go for a swim? I wonder what the pigeon's thinking. Does it think? Here we have Bell's Bridge, which heads across to the Premier Inn. A nice hotel over there. Now, some of the other places that you can get to is Pacific Quay and Govan, Pollock Halls as well. Have a walk across this bridge. It's very bouncy. Now, might be able to see some fish from the bridge. So here we are on the bridge, a canopy across to keep you dry, although it's not so good if the rain's coming in from each side. Getting a bit nearer the BBC studio, and let's have a see any fish. I wonder if there was a bridge there at one time. Like the supports are there for a bridge, but there's no bridge there. Maybe there was once before. We are at the BBC studios, BBC Arba, and you're watching Reporting Scotland on an evening. That's where it's done from, along with some other programmes too. The film Radio Scotland in there. So I'll have a walk across this bridge and across to the Crown Plaza, see what that's like. There's plenty to see along here. Definitely recommend a walk along here sometime. Just beside the BBC studios is the Science Centre, Science Museum. Learn anything and everything to do with science, outer space and inner space. So let's head across this bridge and have a look out for fishing ducks. So this bridge is known as the Millennium Bridge. It must have been built in the year 2000. Let's have a bit of a walk across here. There's some boats. And look in that direction towards Clyde Bank, on the bank of the Clyde. So we're standing in the middle of the bridge now, looking at the BBC studios, the Science Centre, and the Clyde. Rather windy tonight. It's July, and it doesn't. Now as we walk along the Clyde, you'll see these round black things appearing every so often. That's for when the big ships used to come here. The ropes were tied round these black things to keep the ship in place, so that in violent weather it wouldn't toss about, remain firmly in place. I don't think they'll be used now, they're most likely preserved. Now, I'm not quite sure what this is beside the Science Museum. At night time it's lit up, there's red lights at the top. I think it's to stop aeroplanes crashing into it, whatever it is. Could be an air quality machine, who knows. Just along from it is a boat, a ship that you can eat on. It's like, I think it's a mini restaurant. So we'll have a closer look at that as we go further along. Some interesting facts here about the River Clyde. How high is the river today? What clues tell you how deep the water is? What affects the height of the river? What animals can you see? The level of the River Clyde in this area rises and falls with the tides. There are 2 high tides and 2 low tides each day. The size of the high and low tides changes over a month and across a year. Tides are the result of gravity. The gravitational attraction from the moon and the sun pull water across the Earth's surface. Did you know the river here is also known as Inner Clyde Estuary, because it is a tidal area where fresh water meets salty water from the ocean? Well, I never knew that. Every day is a school day. So let's have a look at that boat up there that I think does meals. I've come a bit nearer now to the boat that I thought was a Calmac. It's called the Queen Mary of Glasgow. I'm not sure if it's still in use. Now the looks of it, it's stuck to the ground. It's moored to the ground, I think. And I don't think anyone uses, I think it's used for spare parts maybe. Oh well. Looks nice enough. Right, there's some interesting facts along here I'm going to show you. Just before we show them, there's the Crown Plaza Hotel, the Armadillo, and hiding is the hydro. You can't see it from here. Right, I'm going to show you these facts. There's a young crow coming out for a walk along the Clyde. It's learning to eat by the looks of it. Crows have an average lifespan of 5 years. They're very intelligent birds, so they are. What's up here, it's asking? I think I'll give myself a cider. There we go. Right, so back to the Clyde and these interesting facts. Here we have some interesting facts about the University of Glasgow and its place in the city. If you want to know what you think, scan the QR code to vote your favourite image and help us design the next exhibition. And a picture of a sheep here. Looks like there's a baby growing inside. Next fact. Now we're up to the next one, and this crow seems to be following me around. Must want to have its appearance on YouTube. It's a famous crow. I wonder if it'll start dancing or singing. Anyway, eggs or no eggs? These two images, that's this one and that one, show egg laying and live births in common lizards, a species found in Scotland and across Eurasia. Our team has been studying the evolution, ecology and genetics of egg laying compared to live births. Reptiles share many genes and characteristics of reproduction with mammals. Drones for farming. An aerial view of some sheep in a field. Right, let's go to our next fact. And the famous crow, I wonder if it's from the Counting Crows. Something that fascinates me is the cells, how they work. 3D imaging of cells. 3D computer rendered images help researchers understand the structure and function of cells, which means they can work out how tissues and organs function. Shown here is a photorealistic image of a COS cell, which is commonly used in research. Interesting. And here's the crow making another appearance. I think it's following me. It's going to hunt me down, I think. And something that we want to forget about, perhaps, but because of COVID-19, this virus changed the whole world. This is a detailed illustration of the coronavirus SARS-CoV-2. The virus delivers the genes into new cells, causing the disease COVID-19. You can stop the virus by avoiding it with antibiotics that attack the spikes, and a soap or hand gel which damage the membrane. Interesting. Where's our crow got to? There he is, following us. This one's perhaps rather serious, talking about football versus dementia. Where that hit the ball and causes brain injuries. This one shows the effects of rheumatoid arthritis. You see the various holes there, that's bone, and arthritis is the holes, causes a lot of damage. Rheumatoid arthritis is a chronic inflammatory condition which is characterised by tissue inflammation, cartilage destruction and bone erosion in the joints. Bone remodeling occurs throughout life and is carried out by, let's say, bone eating and bone making cells. Over activation of purple has been associated with bone fragility and damage. This one tells us about colon cancer. It's the deadliest cancer in the Western world, it mentions. Fluorescent imaging shows us to visualise the invasion of the tumour into normal and consequent immune response. This can help us understand the cancer cell biology and identify new ways to treat patients. Identify new ways. Now this here is interesting. It's a solar panel that helps power the science centre. Some very clever person thought this up. That person has a brain power far more than me, that's for sure. How they thought up all this. So the sun is setting over the Clyde.